Woohoo! What's going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and I want to talk about the technique that I use to gain confidence in a bait that I have no belief in whatsoever. So stay tuned, and I'll show you what it's all about. First of all, let me show you this little fish I just caught. Nice. All right, so we've all got it. We've got that bait that we have zero confidence in. That we would, for me, I hate to fish a Cinco, but I've got confidence in it. There are baits and lures out there that I don't, and I just cannot for the life of me buy a bite on one. And so I rarely ever fish them. A long time ago, it was the spinnerbait for me. I couldn't catch a cold on a spinnerbait for the longest time. And I decided that I was bound and determined to figure a spinnerbait out. And which is funny because the first bass over 4 pounds that I ever caught was on a spinnerbait. And I threw that spinnerbait forever after that, and then just kind of got away from it. And then when I tried to get back to it, I couldn't catch a cold on it. I'd throw it 4, 5, 6 times, not catch anything, or throw it for 20, 30 minutes, not catch anything, and switch to whatever I had confidence in. A fluke or a jig or something like that. And I never got around to really figuring out why I couldn't catch a fish on a spinnerbait. So here's a few tricks. One, go online. We're so lucky to have the internet now, but go online and watch all the videos that you can and read all the articles you can about that specific bait or that style of bait. But I want you to pay attention to a few things in particular. Pay attention to what conditions and what water clarity and things like that, what conditions work with that bait. Don't go out, for me right now, let's go backwards. For me right now, I'm working on a glide bait, and I've got one. I've got one right here. I got a bull glide, and I got a whole box of glide baits behind me in the black pack. But the conditions aren't right. I got out here this morning, muddy water. This lake never has muddy water, and it's a perfect lake to throw a glide bait. But I need clearer water. I need the bass shallow, and the bass just aren't shallow right now. So I put it up, But when I do get those conditions, I'm going to bring only glide baits. I'm going to bring 2 rods, and I'm going to bring only glide baits. I've done that with jigs. I've done that with jerk baits. I've done that with tons of different lures and techniques. But the biggest thing is don't go out when the conditions are wrong and try to get confidence in a bait that's just not going to work. And that's all about research. Research how to fish it. I mean, that's why I make videos about how to do it, but I'm not just going to recommend mine. Go watch Tactical Bassin'. Go watch Tackle Junkie 81, Alex Rudd. There's a bunch of YouTubers out there that have great videos on certain techniques, and they have confidence in things that maybe I don't or other YouTubers don't. And so do your research. Now, another thing is rod, reel, line, stuff like that. Pay attention to that, but that's not the end all. If you don't have the perfect rod for a technique, and I know I always try to mention the perfect rod for whatever techniques I'm teaching in my videos, but if you don't have the perfect rod for that technique, don't worry about it. But you're not going to want to throw a really lightweight bait on a really heavy power rod. You're just not going to want to do it just because it's hard to cast. That kind of stuff. Get your line somewhat similar to what they're using, but don't let that be the end all. Now, what I wouldn't be throwing like that glide bait on a medium action rod or a medium power rod. I would not be doing it just because you'll break the rod. You got to get somewhere close, but not dead on. You don't have to. Don't go out there and spend $1,000 on rods and reels and everything else you need for this technique. Just go figure out the ins and outs. Now, when you get on the water, okay, I've already covered take only that bait or only those style of baits. When you get out on the water, you need to experiment. experiment with the retrieves and stuff like that. You've already got it in your head, all the different types of things that work for that specific bait. But try different retrieves, try to bounce it off a cover, try it in different situations and things like that, and really get to know that bait. And once you gain confidence in it, that's when you can really dive into, like a Texas rig. I've learned so much in the last 12 months about a Texas rig that I didn't know before, just because I gained a lot of confidence in it this summer, and I fished the living snot out of it to the point where I think that's all I fished for 3.5 months. But the more you fish that bait you have confidence in, of course, the more things the bass are going to teach you as you start to fish it. I'm telling you, don't give up on a bait. A jig is a prime example. That's the one thing I hear a lot. People are like, I really want to learn to fish a jig, but I just have zero confidence in it. That's one of those baits you have to take out, and you really have to leave everything else at home and don't give up. Fish it, fish it, fish it. Fish every bait that you don't have confidence in, but fish them hard and be patient. Fishermen are horrible at patience, horrible at being able to sit there and say, okay, I'm only gonna fish this technique. Swim baits, I know I'm only gonna get 1 or 2 bites a day if I'm lucky. It's just one of those things we have to force ourselves to do. Gain confidence in a bait, get to know everything you can about it, and you will catch more fish, I promise. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, hold on, I'm pulling my Texas rig through a brush pile. More importantly, get out of the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day. And I think I'm about to catch a fish. Either that or I just made you guys watch an extra 10 seconds. We'll see you.